Hello, welcome to our channel. We love board games. Today we are going to play Alma Mater, where you get to be a headmaster of a university in the 15th century. Sound intriguing? Let's get started. Unfold the game board. If you're playing with 2 players, choose this side. If you're playing with 3 or 4 players, choose this side. On the research track, there are 4 cards each for A through E. Shuffle each letter and select one face up on the board. The rest go back in the box. Sort student tiles by matching the faculty symbols. There are 3 of each kind. Place them on the board. In a 2-player game, remove 1 from each stack. Sort the professor cards by the faculty symbol. There are 3 of each card. Randomly choose 2 of the 4 to place on the board. Put the rest back in the box. Group the glory tiles by A, B, and C. Shuffle them within their letter, choose one randomly, and return the rest to the box. Sort bus cards A, B, and C. Use the amount equal to the number of players. We have 4 for this game, so we're using all 4 cards. Shuffle the chancellor card deck. Place 1 on B and 1 on C, and based on the number of players plus 1, we have 4, so there will be 5 cards in the display. Choose a player color and take the corresponding university board, bookshelf tiles, and 4 master meeples. Place the player markers on the prestige track, starting with 0. Place the yellow markers at the beginning of the round track and the phase track. The rest of the player markers place nearby the board. Place the tutors, the dictionaries, the ducat, the price tiles, 2 remaining masters of each color, and all remaining books near the board. Shuffle the setup cards and give each player 4 cards. You will be picking one and passing the rest to your neighbor. Draft all 4 cards in this manner. Once you have 4 cards, you look at them and choose only 3 to keep. Discard the 4th card. Turn order will be determined by the value of your hand. This 17 to 25, blue would be going first. If there happened to be a tie, you compare the small number in the right-hand corner and the lower number would go first. Starting from the first player, they will select one of the chancellor cards next to the game board and place them next to their own university. We won't explain what each card does because they're explained thoroughly in the rulebook. Place the 1 remaining chancellor card onto bust A. Starting with the first player, receive everything on your 3 chosen setup cards. Some examples would be the green gear gets you a free movement on the research track. This card would get you 2 dictionaries, 1 book of your choice that can be any color except yellow dictionaries, and the star has to be a book of your own color. This card will get you 4 ducat and 2 prestige points. This card will get you 2 ducat and the depicted student tile. After you received your items, return those 3 cards to the game box. Now you will set up your bookshelf. Arrange them however you would like. The significance of the prestige number will be explained further in this video. You can decide how many books of your own color you would like to place in the display. You must fill from the right to the left. Now that you've finished setting up the board, what do you do during the game? During the action phase, each player will perform 1 action out of 2 available. Send masters or exhaust one of your professors. If a player can't or doesn't want to do one of these 2 things, they will have to pass and they are done for the round. The The round ends when every player has passed. Send any master to any of the gray action spaces or one of these spaces. You cannot place your master on the same action space, but you can go somewhere another player is by placing an additional master. During the game, you may gain a tutor, and they are considered masters. However, when you place the tutor and resolve the action, you have to return the tutor back to the supply. This way, you might be able to resolve an action space multiple times. The antiquarian space allows you to spend that amount of ducat for books. The park allows you to spend ducat for prestige points. And the laboratory is where you can increase your standing in the research track. This black research step symbol allows you to go up a track as long as you can pay the cost. This space allows you to do this up to 3 times, or you can move once for no cost. If using the black research step, you pay the cost shown. This would be 3 ducat. When you're moving up, if there's another player's marker, you will put your marker on top. As you go up on the research track, and if it is the last step, you will reach a milestone and gain that benefit right away. The higher you are on the track determines your standing on the reputation track. This will be evaluated during the administration phase each round. This reputation track is closely related to our next action space, the campus. The campus is where the students live, and you can recruit students by using books in your storage. There are 4 action spaces, and they correspond to the row in which students you're trying to recruit. The cost to recruit them is shown at the top of the column. The Roman numeral numbers relate to the matching reputation track. If it's blank, then it can be any color book. This means it needs a yellow dictionary as payment. The equal symbol means 2 of the same book from reputation track 1 or 2. In this example, 2 green or 2 black plus 1 of anything would be payment. You take the top student tile and put them in your lecture hall in the next highest available number slot. If you fill in lecture hall A, you would increase the amount of books you can hold for the next round. The slot with the meeple symbol gains you 1 master that can be used immediately. The slot with the ducat symbol, you must pay the amount before you can recruit a student to that slot. Students give you a benefit for the rest of the game. If they have a lightning symbol, then that effect happens right away. Students have their own personal action space that you can send your masters to. You start with 1 student, and it allows you to spend ducats for your own colored books. The starting student allows you to do this 6 times, while the one from the board allows you up to 8 times. The spaces in the academy grants you one of the professors that correspond to the row. The cost is based on the number next to the card. You will have to pay the ducat cost and the amount of books required. They have to be different books. This player paid the 6 ducat, chose 3 red books, 2 green, and 1 dictionary. Once the first person pays the cost, that is the set price for that particular professor the rest of the game for all other players. You cannot recruit the same professor again. After you recruit a professor, you may immediately give his lecture at no cost. Exhaust the professor after. Finally, take a book of the color that you paid the most for that professor, in this case red, and place it on the card. Every round, you will have to pay that book to give the lecture again. The last 2 spaces behave differently than the other action spaces. You don't have to adhere to worker restriction, and you can go there again even if you already have a worker there. Bishop, you would gain ducat based on how many masters you sent on any given time. The total amount of masters you sent here would also determine the starting order, which we will cover a little bit later. There are 2 different actions you can perform at the colloquium. Buy a dictionary for 4 ducat each, or buy textbooks from another player. Buying a textbook from another player depends on the textbooks they have on display. You have to buy the books from the leftmost in the display, and the cost of the book is shown on top. You would pay this to the player. If you would like to buy more books, but the current player does not have any available left to sell, you can pay 4 ducat to the supply per book. After they purchase, then that player claims prestige points. They get to decide which bookshelf they bought from flips to the darker side. In this example, the player chose to gain 2 prestige points. As you gain prestige points, once you reach 15, you will gain an additional master to put in your archive. Another action you can do on your turn is exhausting one of your professors. Pay the book cost to perform the action, and turn the card to signify it has been used. Each professor can be used once per round. In the Hall of Fame, you can gain additional chancellor abilities and bonus resources or points by completing certain conditions on the glory tiles. These are explained thoroughly in the rulebook. If you have completed any of the requirements at any point in the game, take the bust underneath the Chancellor card to note that you have completed this particular requirement, and that you can now use this Chancellor's ability. In addition, you will gain the specified bonus according to which glory tile you completed. After all players have passed, we go to the administrative phase, turn order. Check the amount of masters in the bishop space. On a tie, keep the relative order. In this case, there are 3 red, so they go first. Black goes second with 2, and since blue and green are tied at 1, they stay in their order. Check storage size. Check the amount of student tiles on the A lecture hall, and that's the maximum amount of textbooks you can carry in your storage to the next round. Please note that books on your display do not count towards this amount. There's also a student tile that can increase this number. Book reputation. Place the player's textbooks according to their position in the research track. If a player marker is on top, they are considered higher on the track. Ready the professors. Turn your professors upright. Take back masters. Take all your masters back and return them to your archives. Income phase. Gain 1 ducat per book in your display. Find the bookshelf that's off your display and slide it from the right, pushing the leftmost bookshelf out. If there's a book with it, return it to the supply. Put the bookshelf aside and keep the same side up. Gain ducat and/or books from student tiles. Gain ducat according to your book reputation. You do this for 6 rounds. At the end of 6 rounds, you will move the round marker to the scoring phase. And yes, that means no income phase at the end of that round. Follow the scoring guidelines on the bottom of the university board. They are explained thoroughly in the rulebook. And that's how you play Alma Mater. Are you guys ready to play?
Sure.
Yeah. See you all next time.